Is Janet from another planet? 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 Is Janet from another planet?
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight on the Shit Show. So far, none of my other panelists have showed up or sent me a message that I've found. So it's just going to be me for now, unless someone else shows up. But the first thing I wanted to start with was this mess that's been going on with, Minnesota. So I wanted to start out with this video that I shared on my timeline earlier when it first came out. I was real lucky to get it, and I was able to download it. So I'm going to share this because this is what really happened. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the narrative that people were talking about and stuff when they were sharing their point of view of it.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking Texas. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the
All
car.
right, baby, go.
Oh!
That's what happened, because that's from the vest of the ICE agent that was run or hit with the vehicle that actually shot his weapon. So that's what happened. So I just wanted you guys to see that first before we got into the rest of the stuff. And it's sad that any of this had to happen, but you know, when you show up where you're not asked to be and impede when government agents are trying to do their jobs, all you're going to do is cause problems. So, you know, that's what happens. But this is the first thing. I think this is the right one. I hope it is. Yeah. Okay, so hold on. Let me pause it so I can turn it up. Here we go.
Well, the mayor of Minneapolis has a message for ICE.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Okay, I'll bite. Or else what? No, seriously, Mayor, be specific. What do you plan to do if ICE actually continues to carry out its legal obligations within the city of Minneapolis? You going to call up your police force to do something about it? Because we all know you wouldn't do it personally. No. You would rely upon the police force that people like you regularly denigrate as being sexist, racist, bigoted murderers, right? The sort of institution that you want to defund is now the one you'll probably rely upon to try to push back against ICE. Yeah. Let me go ahead and spell this out for you, big guy. The only thing that leftists really control in this country when it comes down to it is an army of activists that identify themselves by their mental illness. And the rest of us are just tired of indulging you at this point. Yeah, the fatigue has evolved into full-blown exhaustion at this point. So 2026 is the year where when you get upset, we get happy. Because the bottom line is we're sick of your crap. So go ahead and drop the F-bomb behind a podium if it makes you feel tough. But ICE is going to continue to do operations. And you know what you're going to do about it? Nothing.
Oh, that was great. It made me feel good to listen to him because honestly, we're almost all there. Every person that I know of that voted for this administration is sick and tired of all this crap. We're tired of people sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. It's pathetic and sad that that's all they have in their lives is to pack up their stuff and run somewhere else and stick your nose in other people's business, especially when they're not even Americans. These people aren't Americans, and they're just sucking us dry. I mean, they are draining our resources, and these people just want to keep giving more of it to them. I mean, they must like getting up and going to work and taking half their check and handing it to total strangers. I don't want to give any of my money to someone I don't know at all. And if I want to donate some money, I should have the right to do it with my own hand, not have the government handing it out. So that's how I look at it. But I want to say hi to everybody really quick before I forget, since there's no one here but me. But I want to say hi to Jackie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I know she can't help as much as she wants, but I'm thankful for any bit of help I can get. And thank you, baby girl. You're such a sweetheart. And let's see, that's Jackie thanking everybody for being here. And I said thank you to everyone. Oh, and then Lloyd, Christmas, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. He said hi. Oh, Jackie said hi. So everybody's saying hi to everybody. That's good. And George, hello, George. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. Thank you. Savinthia, I think I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. But yeah, I do too. I like him a lot. I think he's to the point all the time. But he thinks just like we do. He's just a little better at saying it, right? But the thing is that we're all fed up. And I've got a couple other videos of others that are just tired of the rhetoric and just the bullshit, basically. And, you know, it's a shame that we have to put up with this crap at all. I mean, we shouldn't have to. We really shouldn't. But, oh, put me over there. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to bring up this other one real quick, just so that we don't feel like we're all alone all the time. Because sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I feel like, am I the only person that feels this way? I don't think I can be, but I could be. I think this is it. Let me see. Yeah, this is it. Let me pause it. Make sure it's turned up. And listen to this.
Y'all know it was coming. So here it is. I'm going to tell you. Fuck your feelings. Facts is facts. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear, oh, she had 3 kids, or she had a 6-year-old. She was a good mother. She wasn't considering any of that when she got her ass behind that wheel and started operating it and drove it at a fucking federal officer. That's simple. Fuck your feelings. What's going on in Minnesota, Minneapolis, wherever the fuck it is, where all them motherfuckers are snapping over the motherfucking daycare shit? Y'all created that shit. And the lady from Missouri, she got up there motherfucking, y'all, I'm gonna show you now. I just moved to Minnesota. I'm from the show me state. They showed her and put some holes in her motherfucking face. And now that bitch ain't got shit to say. And her kids are never gonna see their mom again. Why? Because she made a stupid motherfucking move. If it was a nigga, you'd have just said, that's a dumb nigga. He should have complied. Well, that was a dumb white bitch and she should have fucking complied. And now she got what she got, and it is what it is. The bitch should have motherfucking listened. She should have got out the fucking car, complied, and she would have went on about her day, and her kids would be having motherfucking dinner with her ass. Instead, that bitch got holes in her motherfucking head, and she ain't here no more, and it is what it is. Fuck your feelings. Facts is facts. Get out they fucking way, let them do their fucking job, leave them people to fuck alone, and they ain't gonna fuck with you. You keep fucking with them, go on and drive a car to motherfucking officer if you want to, and see if you don't catch some hot ones in your ass. It is what it is.
See, as another person's point of view of how they see it, people are getting fed up. And what's really sad is I personally believe that a lot of these people go there and do these things because they get paid to, or they have some other incentive. I don't know exactly what all the different types of incentives are. They're 15 minutes of fame. I don't know, but cash, a new car. I mean, heck, I have no idea. But I just don't believe so many people just show up in busloads of people with signs that almost look identical, like signs from another state. You know what I mean? It just seems planned. You know what I mean? And I'm trying not to be a bitch about it, but I mean, are we going to have to go through the same thing we went through after what happened with George Floyd? You know what I mean? And some of the other incidents that have happened, just because somebody's paying people to show up and spout rhetoric. And since we have the Smith-Mundt Act in place and the news doesn't report it, because it's pathetic. But this next gentleman that I want to play is a police officer, and he is saying what he believes is facts. And to me, they're facts. And I'm liking seeing a little bit more of our point of view coming out, and people not afraid to get things off their chest or to share information with people, because people haven't been wanting to share information because they're afraid of what might happen to them. But it's time for us to start speaking the truth and sharing the truth with others. So if you get something, it's factual, and you want to share it with someone, because guess what? They may never have seen it. They might not have heard it before. And if they share it with someone else, and more people realize we don't have to put up with this crap anymore, that we can start standing up for what we believe in, maybe more people will. But here we go.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe.
100%. And he has people that work under him. So when his officers go to work, he has to worry about who's going to get in the middle between the officer and the person that he's trying to arrest. Or if they show up somewhere, whether someone's going to ambush them. Things like that he has to think about too. Also, he's trying to think about how to protect their community, because that's what their jobs are. Their jobs are to defend and care for the people that are in the community. That's their job. So when people just go out there willy-nilly thinking, oh, I'm just going to stand in front of this vehicle and keep them from going somewhere. I mean, it might postpone it for a few minutes and you might end up dying. I mean, to me, it means they don't have common sense. You know, if you stick your finger in the fire, something's going to happen to your finger. Yeah, it's going to get burnt, right? So I don't understand. I really am shocked how I'm seeing more and more of these people that just don't seem to have any common sense about their actions, about what is about or could happen at any moment if if they don't, I don't know, if they don't stop doing dumb shit. Doesn't make any sense. But this next thing is a reply or a response from our vice president to some of the rhetoric that's been going on. And I thought this was important because he could be the next person they choose to run for president of the United States. And his response is, I've been trying, as like you've noticed, since he first became vice president, trying to show little things that I feel that helps him look more presidential, like maybe this whole thing as a training process is for him. Now, not everyone tries to run for president once they're vice president, but I don't know. I have a feeling, as young as he is, that JD might decide I want to keep doing this, even though, God, maybe he'll change his mind after all this chaos that we've been going through, just trying to scratch the surface of all the fraud and the crimes. But hopefully, we'll see. But I think he's learning a lot under President Trump. So here we go.
How does being part of that network justify being shot?
Well, being part of the network doesn't justify being shot, but ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot. It's not a good thing, by the way, but when you force somebody to engage in self-defense, it's almost a preposterous question. I'm not saying that funding some of this stuff justifies capital punishment. Nobody would suggest that. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car, and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life, and that is the tragedy. Now, there may be other violations of the law and other penalties that are associated with those violations of the law. For example, if you are funding violence against our law enforcement officers, I'm not a prosecutor. My guess is that's not the sort of thing that earns capital punishment, but it should sure as hell earn you a few years in prison if you're funding the effort to try to assault our law enforcement officers. What is, I'm sorry, guys, what's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
The investigation is still ongoing.
I said next question.
I thought that was clear, precise, and to the point. Exactly what we need in a president. That, to me, his response was very presidential. He tried to explain exactly why he felt that way, and that if people do things like that, that's what's going to happen. Everyone in this country has the right to defend themselves, and that means all the people sitting in that picture right there that you see, if they own a gun, if they have a gate around their house, if they lock their doors at night to their house, if they lock their car doors, wear a seatbelt, all those things have something to do with protecting them. And they have the right to do that. But when any of them get in trouble, who are they going to call? They're all going to call 911 for help. And if their city is being invaded, or they have a tornado or a flood or an earthquake and they need help, they're going to ask the president to send in the National Guard to help them. You know, it's sad to me that all these people that are pointing the finger at everyone that's trying to do the job that they've been hired to do want to bitch and moan about it. But who are they going to call when as soon as they have a problem? The people they're bitching and moaning about. When you defund people and take their money away, there's not going to be enough people to show up when there's an emergency. So these people are just nothing but hypocrites. That's what I see. Cowards hiding behind the name of a newspaper or a magazine, a TV show, whatever it is, and other people's money that's been thrown at them to ask dumbass questions. What I would want to know is things like, what are they going to try to do to stop people from doing what they were doing? You know, are they going to have people at the end of the streets? You know, I don't know. You know, the changes that they're going to try to make so that people from another state can't just show up and drive in and think that they can impede on top of the people that are already there, that live there in the city or in that neighborhood, that are already there to protest. So I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. I'm not a police officer, but I can tell you right now, if I wanted to have answers, I would ask police officers, other people in the business of trying to save a community or protect people. That's who I would ask. That's what my common sense would tell me. Hey, if you want to know how to do this, you ask somebody that knows how to do that stuff. So, yeah, I know it's hard to understand because we're not dumbasses. I know, I understand that part of it for sure. But yeah, I do like him. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't even know he had written that book. I mean, that just shows you how much I know about stuff. And I have relatives that live in Ohio. So that just shows you that if you don't talk about things that are going on around you, no one's going to know. I mean, you can live 2 states away from your aunt or uncle or your cousin. And if their cousin isn't telling you things that are going on in their town or with them in their area, how are you going to know about it? You're not. So that's why it's important to talk about things with other people and share information, especially if it's you know, something that might help someone else not end up in that situation too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just gotten way out of control, and we need to have people listen and try to obey the law. I guess we're gonna have to start arresting people. I mean, I hate to say that. We got enough people that they're trying to arrest and get the numbers or whatever they have to do, find out if they're criminals or not. I mean, if they're like broke the law or whatever, or up on charges, or if they're just illegals that shouldn't be here, and then ship them out, that type of thing. That's why they have to sort through all these people. They know that they're there for a reason, because they have the names and the addresses, and they're able to get a hold of these people. But when you have all these other people standing around causing fights, blocking traffic, doing all these other things, it takes everything 10 times longer. Everybody's saying, why haven't they gotten rid of everyone? Well, this is why. Every single sanctuary city is going through this same crap in every single state that they have these in. So if you got the whole state of New York, that means every town you go in, you're going to have some kind of people butting heads with the law enforcement to stop them from doing their job. And then every single thing, what they do, they arrested the guy. The local people arrested this guy and put him in jail, and they had to release him when they saw the body, the body cam footage and stuff. It's pathetic. It's a lawfare on every single level in our government, starting with the whole bunky little bitty towns, all the way up to the top. And it's costing us a fortune I just don't see any reason for it. But somebody thinks it's important enough to drag us all down and bankrupt our country over this petty stuff, when we should be spending the money on our veterans, on our cities and our towns and our infrastructure, things like that, important stuff, instead of signs and hotels and food and stuff like that for people that are going from one city to another to protest against something that's perfectly legal, to get people that are here illegally out of our country. It's just, to me, it's just pathetic. And it's just a bunch of dumbass people that aren't listening or paying attention, apparently, because we're in such bad shape with so much crap. But this next thing I wanted to share is from Gunther. I think most of you guys know who that is. But let me stop that one thing there from JD and present this next thing. I think it's this one. Right here's one of them. Here we go. All right. This is really good. Now, this was one of the things that I wanted to play, because as all of us have been watching little things here and there on the different apps, Instagram and Facebook and Rumble and X, and whatever place that you're at, YouTube, or just on regular TV, you're seeing all these different protests in different cities. Like in California, you got some in Minnesota, you have some in Michigan, just in New York. They're just everywhere, right? But what's funny is, as you see the cameras panning, you're seeing signs, and they'll zoom in on the signs or whatever, and it looks like a handmade sign or a printed sign, but they look identical to the sign we saw in that city, way in 2 states away or 4 states away. And then way on the other side of the country, you see same signs. So I just know it's coordinated. I know these people are getting paid. That's what I was thinking. But then this reporter gets to talk to this guy and listen to what this guy says. I think it's hilarious. So listen to this. I'm going to make sure it's turned up. There we go.
Shame! Do you have a job? Do you have a job? Shame! I'm getting paid right now. Shame!
I'm getting paid right now, because that's a paid protester, and they protest constantly. Look at mask. Everybody's wearing masks. Yeah, I know it's cold outside, but they were wearing masks in the summer. But they are throwing tantrums because ICE agents have masks on. See, It's pathetic. It's pathetic. All of this is pathetic and a waste, such a waste of tax dollars, because I would much rather see our police officers doing stuff in other areas, but yet they have to do this crap and have 3 times or 4 times as many of them there to do it, simply because they're surrounded. Everywhere they go, they're surrounded by people that they don't know what they're going to do or what their intentions are. And that's the sad truth. That officer that we saw at the very beginning, about 6 months ago, he was dragged by a vehicle and had like 30 something stitches from that. So I can see why he was a little afraid of having to go to the hospital again, if he lived this time, being run over by a car. I don't know. I only know like 3 people I've ever met in my whole life that had been run over by a car, and all 3 of them lived, but they were lucky to have lived because the tire didn't go over their head. You know, it went over like their stomach area or their leg and broke their leg or their hip. And they were just lucky of how they landed on the ground, and the vehicle went over them. So it's just sad that we are in this point in America right now. It's just heartbreaking to me. But let's see, what is this next? Oh yeah, now this is the next thing I wanted to talk about, because the other big story we were talking about was this whole thing about Venezuela, right? So I wanted to share this because to me, this is awesome. The fact that our president and his people put together a whole team to go in and extract this president of Venezuela and his wife. But how many people were involved? A lot of people. Different planes, different helicopters, all types of vehicles, boats, different agencies were involved. And it didn't leak out enough to where he found out about it and ran off to another country or something. So I want to share this. It's a AI generated video that someone had made, and they're showing us exactly what happened and how our government captured the president of Venezuela. And to me, it was really interesting. So I wanted to share it real quick because it kind of give you a little bit more of an idea of all the work that went into it. And it took multiple people to be able to have it be so successful, because I was praying when I first heard about it that he didn't leave his wife, that they didn't leave his wife there, because those people could have done anything to her they wanted and said, we did it. So the fact that they got his wife and brought her out too, I'm glad. I'm really glad about that, because that's something, that's a little hole that we didn't leave for them to turn into whatever they wanted. And I'm so thankful for that one thing. But here we go. Watch this video. It's pretty awesome.
How do you capture a high-value target when the whole world is watching? You create a masterclass in deception. The CIA set the stage with a single building as bait and filled the sky with 150 aircraft to create a deafening sonic shield for the helicopters to drop Delta forces. F-35s lit up the perimeter, turning night into day. By the time the dust settled, the helicopters had already touched down and Maduro was gone. We'll also look at how the U.S. uses the F-35 jets in its Navy to launch a large-scale attack, all in the video ahead. In the dead of night that is 2 in the morning, the lights went out in Caracas. By 5 a.m., the president of Venezuela was gone. But how U.S. played a deception games. While the whole world were focused on the aircraft carriers in the Caribbean, a shadow war was being fought on the ground. This wasn't an invasion. It was a surgical extraction. We finally have the declassified timeline of how U.S. forces breached the heart of Caracas and extracted Nicolás Maduro. Let's start with step 1. The setup. This didn't happen overnight. For months, the U.S. had been tightening a naval quarantine around Venezuela. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group and the U.S. Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group were parked off the coast. The pretext was clear. The U.S. designated the Venezuelan government a narco-terrorist state, specifically targeting the drugs lords, but while the Navy squeezed the coast, intelligence assets were tracking one man. They waited for a specific window, a moment where Maduro was stationary and vulnerable. Step 2, the strike. It began at exactly 2 in the morning Venezuelan Standard Time. High above, several F-35 stealth fighters punch a hole through the enemy lines, destabilizing their anti-air defenses. Like these Russian S-300 missiles located all over the strategic high-value target. With the skies cleared, the path opens for Delta Force helicopters to fly straight towards the mission. Here comes the deception as the helicopters flew. The jets started firing with more strikes as it hit Fort Tuna, the main military base and command center, and La Carlova Air Base, destabilizing Venezuelan air support. Reports from the ground described widespread explosions and a sudden communications blackout. The chaos wasn't the goal, it was the cover. But how did the raid happen? We have to look at step 3. Under the cover of darkness and chaos, the Tier 1 operators went to work. But what is the exact unit tasked with the mission? It is the Delta Force, one of the most elite secretive special forces units in the US military. Witnesses in Caracas reported low-flying aircraft skimming the rooftops, flying well below radar coverage. The team breached a secure compound believed to be a safe house within the massive Fort Tuna complex. Resistance from the Venezuelan Presidential Guard was swift but ultimately futile, as the helicopters lay cover fire. The operators moved with surgical speed, landing on multiple points. But how exactly the capture and extraction happened? For this, let's look at step 4. Specialized helicopters hovered over the objective to insert the assault team. While dozens of attack helicopters laid down suppression fire, the Delta Special Forces descended and started the search for the high-value targets. How did they find him? Simple. The CIA had planted spy inside Nicolás Maduro close circle. While back in the US, Delta Force built an exact replica of his safe house, rehearsing the raid until they could do it blindfolded. While operators breached the room so fast, his security could not even react to the situation as the sound of flash grenades disoriented the security guard. Using blowtorch, they caught him before he could even lock all the doors. Maduro's shock and awe froze him as Delta Force breached the compound. Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were physically secured. This wasn't a negotiation. They were detained and immediately moved to the extraction point. These aircraft are capable of performing urban extractions from buildings and refueling in midair. Within minutes, they were airborne, leaving Venezuelan airspace and heading to a secure floating staging base in the Caribbean. This Operation Southern Spear has changed the geopolitical map of South America overnight. But wait, before after the extractions, there were reports of F-35 jets also leading the tip of the spear for the attack. We'll look how the United States used F-35 jets instead of F-16s for operations in Venezuela, because this is a well-organized and militarized Venezuela has positioned advanced Russian S-300 missile systems, Chinese radar networks, integrated Russian air defenses, and Shahed drones along its borders. This creates a highly lethal and challenging environment that older F-16s would struggle to survive. As stated, around 150 aircrafts and a massive 8 U.S. destroyers were stationed there. It also has 3 amphibious aircraft carrier and surveillance plane to turn it into a massive command and control juggernaut capable of overcoming a modern military's air defenses. Signals a readiness to counter Venezuela's entire air defense network if necessary. But why Venezuela Air Force failed to intercept? As of 2025, Venezuela's fighter jet fleet consists mainly of approximately 21 Sukhoi Su-30 multirole fighters delivered by Russia between 2006 and 2008, which now form the backbone of their combat air power. Additionally, they maintain about 5 operational F-16 Fighting Falcons from an older batch, including 3 single-seat F-16As and 2 two-seat F-16Ds. These F-16s are aging and suffer from limited maintenance and part support due to U.S. sanctions.
Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, okay. I guess that was the end of the video. It only went for 5 minutes. But the thing is, it took 35 minutes. In 35 minutes, they were able to go in and take the president of their country like that, basically. So we got to see how it unfolded. But the thing is, why? You know what I mean? I'm still waiting for everything because right now we're getting all these reasons why. Is it oil? And the fact that all his guards that were shot, some of them died, were all from, almost every one of them were from Cuba. And we heard when he was explaining, I wanted to make sure the part where he explained how their boundaries were guarded, right? Using sonar and radar from China. And then they had different vehicles and weapons from Russia. And then he had Cuban guards. So you have those three countries helping him stay guarded as they run out and sell drugs and their fuel. So the whole thing, when they first started bombing and attacking all those drug running boats, I knew it had to be leading up to something more, because I was happy about it, because any drugs not coming into our country is a good thing, period, for any country. But it was so precise, and it was, like almost getting to be almost like clockwork. Like I knew they were watching them, because it was just like, no matter where their boats were, they knew exactly where they were. You know what I mean? And the precision of the target hitting the targets, right on the engines, engine blocks and things like that. Like they're trying not to completely just blow the ship to nothingness. I thought that was interesting. But as this stuff starts unfolding in the next few months, so we'll find out exactly what's going on. I feel, my personal point of view is that because of who he is, and the video that I showed last night, it was a Lou Dobbs interview with the Kraken. I'm trying to remember what her name is. Oh, damn, I hate that. But she was talking about the 2020 fraud, of Venezuela using Smartmatic machines to cheat in Venezuela, and in a few other countries using those machines that we were now using in our country to cheat. So I thought that was very interesting. So when this happened, that's the first thing I was thinking, is if you get the leader that started all of it with the cheating machines, and you bring them here and you use that as leverage to get all the people involved in the treason against our country by stealing an election from a duly elected president, and the people, the 80-something million people that voted for that president, deserve justice. And that's all of us. Anyone that voted for Trump when he didn't win against Biden, and the fact that Biden got 81 million votes, more votes than Obama, which I doubt. I seriously doubt. I've said that many times. There's just no way. I can see, honestly, both times when Obama won, I didn't vote for him, but I believed he won. Okay. I didn't believe there was massive cheating or anything like that going on when he won both those times. But I really did believe there was cheating going on when Hillary was running against Trump the first time. So even though she didn't win, I do believe there was a lot of cheating going on. And I do believe that because of us, the voters, we went out and so many people went out to vote, it overwhelmed the system that basically they couldn't keep up with they couldn't get enough ballots. And it happened this time too. The time when Biden ended up winning, that's why it took weeks to count them, because they had to make sure they trucked enough ballots here and there or wherever to seal the fate that they had enough ballots to win. Even though when you have 30,000 people in this area to vote, but you had 50,000 votes come in, and nobody wanted to admit that. Wow, that's cheating when you have 20,000 more votes than you're supposed to. It was ridiculous how long it's taken for them to finally start coming out with all these states admitting that there's fraud, that they have no way of knowing how it happened. So I don't know how you're going to fix it, because I don't remember anything like this ever happening in my lifetime. So I don't know what they're going to do. To me, that's why it's so hard to try to figure this out, is because I've never seen anything like all this. I've never seen this much corruption. I've never seen anything like this. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, but we got to do something, because people can't just blatantly do this stuff and get away with it if we're going to have law and order, so we got to do something. I just wish I knew what. I just wish I had answers, but I don't. But getting this out for you to see it, hopefully someone will come up with something, an answer or two, what we're going to do about this mess. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting, the way that they showed how they extracted everybody. So let me see. Let's see the next one. I think it's, is it that one? No, wait, hold on. I think it says Wall Street. There it is. I think it's this one. Hopefully it's the right one. Okay, let's see. Okay, here's another thing I think was pretty interesting. This has to do with, the Maduro stuff still. I'm going to play a few more things about that, because I'm trying to play the top things that I found that I felt were important, trying to understand why we took them. So here we go.
The Venezuelan cartel that was headed by Maduro before he was arrested was trying to create problems inside the United States. It was a Cuban plan to flood our streets with narcotics, to undermine America from within. The other part of that plan was to spend money and to train and to abet a political dissent in this country. To for example, I talked to a high-ranking Venezuelan defector, very high-ranking, in October, and he told me he was in the room when Hugo Chavez, before he died, gave one of the founders of Black Lives Matter millions of dollars to support the Bolivarian revolutions in U.S. streets. This is months before BLM was founded, and that founder has been photographed multiple times with Maduro. She brought Maduro to Harlem. She wrote a report supporting one of Maduro's false elections. So either through dissent and political activity or through drugs, the Venezuelan cartel, it's not really a regime, it's not really a government. The Venezuelan cartel that was headed by Maduro before he was arrested was trying to create problems inside the United States, the same way it did in Chile in 2019, in Colombia in 2021, all through the region with street riots.
So that's interesting, the tidbit that we got at the very beginning, that the people that founded Black Lives Matter were getting money and help from Maduro before they even established it. So his dirty hands were already in here trying to disrupt the way our country's run by putting people in there to cause havoc, basically riots or whatever else, kind of like what we're seeing right now in Minnesota, and like we're seeing in other states over the whole Somali fraud stuff or whatever, and ICE agent stuff. So I don't know. I think I think Maduro goes way deep into a lot of things, not just because he was, the head of something, drug running and things like that. I think it's because he's been in there for a while and he knows quite a lot of people that are involved in a lot of different things. And I think that Trump is going to try to take advantage of that in different areas, not just for drugs or guns or human trafficking. It's going to be for money laundering. It's going to be for election fraud. It's going to be for multiple layers of stuff. I just know it. So I'm real excited about it. But little things like this added all together makes a huge pile of evidence for them to point in different directions and find out who worked hand in hand with Maduro. It can't be that hard to figure it out. But now I can understand why they didn't want Trump in there at all. They knew that if he got in there, because of what he was saying, they didn't want him in there because they had to get rid of him. And I also believe that they've tried to kill him a few times. Thank God they haven't been successful, because I can't even imagine where our country would be in right now if Harris had been able to wiggle their way in. We'd be in really bad shape. I really do believe that in my soul. But I'm thankful, very thankful that we didn't end up with her. Bad. But this next one I want to share is a video of a young man from Venezuela trying to explain why it was so important that we got rid of him. And we got to remember, I think it was under the Biden administration, the very beginning, that he put a $25 million price on Maduro to be arrested. I think he did it not because he really wanted to see him get arrested, but because it made him look like he was tough on drugs and tough on crime. Because look how easy they set this up. I'm not saying it was easy. I mean, the Trump administration, with all the people that the liberals think are total dumbasses, were able to come up with a team to go in and extract him right out of their own country in their beds. And it took them 35 minutes. So all these years that went by with the best of the best, doing all the things besides, wearing dresses and, parading around or whatever, they couldn't go in and take someone out for 25 million. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But I wanted you to hear what this young man had to say about Maduro.
Okay. As a Venezuelan American, I got some shit to say. My family, my parents, my sister, my extended family, all lost everything. Their work, their savings, their investments, gone. Wiped out by a narco dictatorship that has held Venezuela in a death grip for over 25 years. And what happened to my family has happened to millions, and yes, millions. The Venezuelan exodus is the second largest displacement crisis on earth after Syria. This is not just a tragedy. It is one of the great humanitarian disasters of our time. But the suffering doesn't end there. This regime has jailed hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands have been murdered simply for speaking out. More than a third of the population has fled. 1/3. Not for better opportunities or for the American dream, but to survive, to live, because staying often means death. And while the world may see Venezuela as a collapsed state, what it is in reality is an occupied one. Our territory, our natural resources, and our institutions have been overrun by hostile foreign powers. Iranian militias, Chinese corporations, Russian intelligence, all exploiting our country with impunity. Venezuela is no longer just a local crisis. It is now a geopolitical threat that endangers the entire Western Hemisphere. It has become a launch pad for an authoritarian expansion in the Americas. And in the midst of all of this, one woman has dared to lead the charge for freedom. Maria Corina Machado. In 2024, against every odd, she led a peaceful democratic uprising that won the election. Her team smuggled physical voting receipts out of the country, hard proof of victory that the regime tried to bury. Her courage has lit a fire in the hearts of millions of Venezuelans desperate to believe that change is still possible. But now some have questioned her decision to dedicate her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Okay, I get that. But here's the truth. It was a brilliant strategic move in the global chessboard of politics. Maria Corina is no fool. She knows exactly the kind of man Trump is. She knows how much he campaigned for it, loudly and relentlessly to win that very same prize. She knows how symbolic and personal that recognition is to him. And precisely because of that, she understood that this gesture might be the thing that keeps his attention focused on Venezuela at a time when US presence and pressure in the Caribbean is rising. She didn't dedicate that award to flatter him. She did it to protect and preserve the one kind of power that could help shift the course of history. Because for her, this isn't about pride. It's not about optics. It's about freedom. And let's be very clear. Maria Corina is not asking for the US to invade Venezuela. She's not campaigning for war. Venezuela is already invaded. It is held hostage by a narco state, overrun by foreign agents and enemies of democracy, Russians, Iranians, Chinese, all operating freely, weaponizing our land and resources to expand their influence across Latin America. What Maria Corina is calling for, what millions of Venezuelans are praying for, is the support of the only military on earth capable of countering that threat and helping to free our people. This is not imperialism. This is liberation. She's not playing partisan games. She's playing for Venezuela's life. Because this isn't theoretical. This isn't academic. This is life or death. So yes, it is time to honor her bravery, but more importantly, it is time for the world, especially the free world, to recognize what's at stake. The fight for Venezuela is a fight for freedom, for democracy, and for the stability of an entire continent. If we truly care about liberty, human dignity, and peace in the Americas, then Venezuela's fight must matter to all of us. Que viva Venezuela, que viva María Corina Machado.
Okay, now he was very passionate about what he had to say, but what did he say in that about China, Russia, and Cuba controlling what was going on in their country, basically? So by what we did helped us, but it also helped them. So now with what's going on, hopefully people like that will say, okay, let's start working on what we can do in our own country and fix it. Because I know I don't want to fix it. It's not our problem. Now we had a $25 million bounty on him. Why? And I think it's going to help us fix problems that we have, because I think his dirty hands were all in it. And he knows a lot of the other dirty hands that were all in it. So that's why I'm thankful that that we did do it. But also, I'm not the only one, because there's a few other people talking about it that are on, that do podcasts and things like that. Here is one that I think is really, really interesting. And I hope that you guys do too. Here we go. Hopefully I did these two in order, or there's three different ones, but two of them are pertaining to what we're talking about right now. So hopefully I got them in order. So that if they're not, then I'm really sorry, but I did the best I could. I'm not a pro. But this is Glenn Beck talking about the Venezuelan regime, whole thing. He's trying to explain it to you. And he also talks about how China is involved in a few other things. So just listen to these two videos that I'm going to play one after the other, and hopefully to give you some information. Here we go.
He's not changing a regime. He's changing the global regime. Who runs the global regime? There's two things. One, China, Russia, Iran. They're running what I would call the Axis powers. Okay. You have to start thinking, as I told you last year, we're in World War III. You just don't know it yet. We're in a Cold War. Hope to God it never becomes a hot war. But what Donald Trump is building is this arsenal so it doesn't go into a hot war. FDR waited too long. At the pace that Donald Trump is running, it may not be too late. But what is the regime? One, China. There are only three choices of where this all ends, okay? Because everybody's economy is falling apart. The whole system is falling apart. It doesn't work anymore. Okay. One, China, Russia, Iran. Two, the WEF. The WEF is the Great Reset. That is a global government run by oligarchs and businesses and banks. The ones that are doing it, WEF, read my book, The Great Reset, and all of the oligarchs and the banking system, who's the big foe of the United States right now in Europe. It's certainly not, France. It's Christine Lagarde, the central banker of Europe, the European Central Bank. She's the one that is coordinating all of the currencies, everything that's going on to bring them into this fascistic WEF world. Okay. So those are your two choices. Donald Trump has come up with another choice, and that is America First, which is bucking the entire system. It's saying we're not going to go with the WEF. We're not going to be run by corporations and a bunch of faceless people and all these oligarchs. No. And we're not going to be run by the Chinese. And we're not going to go that road. We believe in America and the American system. That's the regime change. He's overthrowing what the Western world was doing, the WEF, the Great Reset. We were all in on that. All that global warming, all of that red tape, he's throwing all of that out. We're not doing any of that. We're going here. I believe Donald Trump has given up on Europe. It's over. They can go their own way. They're going the wrong direction. They're never going to change. It's over. He has written the Far East off as communist China run. And the Middle East, he's negotiating with everybody. He's negotiating in some places where I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like what you're doing. Why are you negotiating with these people at the table? Because he's trying to build the arsenal of the West. He's taking our foes and trying to make them as much of allies, kind of like what we did with Stalin. Bring them in enough so they don't fall on the other side. Okay? Now, let me tell you how I got here. Marco Rubio said the other day, we're going after the cartels and the oligarchs. And how I heard that was, we're going after the cartels. I'm like, oh. And I didn't even pay attention to the second half of that sentence. I paid attention to the cartels. Okay? If I'm a cartel, and this is the way our American president and the whole global system has always played this. Let's just start. What is a cartel? How does a cartel work? You have a mob boss, if you will, and they are going to sell something that is illegal, be that people or drugs. They're going to do illegal things. So what does the cartel boss need? The cartel boss needs mules to move product, needs enforcers to keep people in line, and they need the workers, the chemists and everybody else, to actually procure and make the product, right? That's where you start. To keep that going, however, as you grow, you also need the cops, the judges, and the politicians. You got to have them in your pocket. Otherwise, they'll shut you down. If you have those things, this is where all presidents and everybody else stops. Where are we doing? We're going into Venezuela. We're going to get the kingpin of the cartel. We're going to go in and we're going to get Maduro. He's the kingpin of the cartel. True. Absolutely true. And we're going to send a message. to the other politicians and the judges and the cops and the other cartels, we're watching you. But what happens? Once America stops watching it, it just grows again, right? Over and over again. We've been talking about this system forever.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to the cartel. What is a cartel? Because there's one part we never, ever talk about. We never talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the other thing a cartel must have to be successful?
Money.
The banks.
Mm-hmm.
They must have the banks. Remember, they have the politician. Let's think of this as Epstein. Epstein, in his last couple of years, moved $13 billion. Somebody check on that. $13 billion. He moved it. There were like 70 what are called yellow tickets. Whenever the banks spot money being moved into offshore accounts, et cetera, and they're like, something illegal is going on here, it automatically generates a yellow ticket. Okay? You move $10,000 out of your bank and you do it every Friday, a yellow ticket is going to come up with the bank, and it will go right to the Treasury. And the Treasury then says, officers, go look into this. Something funny's going on. Well, he had like 70 yellow tickets. You can't move that much money into offshore accounts without the bank knowing. The bank did know. The Treasury knew. But for some reason, neither the bank nor the Treasury did anything about those yellow tickets. So is the problem just Epstein? Mm-hmm. Is the problem... If Epstein were in jail today, he's dead, but let's say he's in jail today and what's-her-face is in jail today, did we get the bad guys? No. We got some of the bad guys, but we didn't get the bad guys that made it all possible. We didn't go after the bank. We didn't go after the Treasury. What the hell happened here? Nobody wants to look into that. Let me tie this back now to the cartels and to we're going after the cartels and the oligarchs. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I hope this is true.
So, had anybody thought about that besides Glenn Beck? I didn't think about it. I mean, I knew they had money, but I thought it was dirty money. And when you think of dirty money, you're not thinking about it being in a bank. You know what I mean? Banks get robbed by cartels. That's how I always looked at it. But what if you had huge banks that were backing back and forth money to make sure everyone's looking the other way when things were happening? It would make a lot of people's lives that are involved in those things a lot easier, wouldn't it? If they didn't have to look over the shoulder all the time, because on this shoulder, you got the crooked cops and politicians. And on that shoulder, you got the crooked people like Maduro. So as long as you're in the middle holding up all the money, they're not going to bother you. See what I mean? So it makes a lot of sense to me. And that's one reason why I wanted to play this, because every piece of the puzzle is starting to fall into place. And I'm hoping that this has something to do with that, because it's just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed impossible when it happened, why he picked that person at this time to do something. I don't know. So I'm excited about it. I'm ready to watch some of this stuff unfold. And hopefully we see some handcuffs being clinked and people sitting in jail awaiting trials. That's what I'm hoping. But, you know, I get like that. I get very excited because I really do believe that something good's going to happen. So we'll see. But I got this other video. I got two more little ones with Glenn Beck, because he explains things so well. And, you know, I used to watch Glenn Beck way back when he was on CNN. And, he leaned to the left a lot. But I remember when he left and he was going to, I think it was Fox or something, how happy he was. And I remember him saying, oh, it's going to be so nice to actually be able to tell you the truth. So, and it was sad that someone can actually take money knowing they're lying to the people. So, I don't know. I want to trust people, but it's just hard to. It's really hard to trust anyone anymore, because if they're making money, how can you really trust them? You don't know whether or not what they're covering up to get the extra dollar. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of scary. But this to me was really interesting because he's talking about starving out China. So I don't know, but this kind of stuff to me, I lean towards the whole thing about the silver, about the way China is like decided not to sell any more silver. So a lot of this is interesting. And I think a lot of this stuff is starting to connect. But here we go.
Okay, so I want to go over. I put a chalkboard up, and if you're watching us at glennbeck.com, you'll see Venezuela, China, Iran. They're all connected. All of these things are connected. And if somebody tells you this is all about the oil, listen to them, because it is. But I don't know if they understand what they're even saying about that, and I'll explain in a second. If they're saying, well, this is about drugs, okay, this is about terror, this is about the hemisphere, this is about the U.S. military and the war machine. Yes, to all of those things. So let me pull them apart. First of all, right now, Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, 303 billion barrels. That's $17+ trillion at the current market value. They also claim about 8,000 to 10,000 tons of gold that is still in ground. Okay. Now, here's the part you're not being told. With all of that oil, we don't need the oil. Have you noticed the gas prices? They keep coming down. We don't need the oil. We need to pull the oil out of the ground ourselves, which we are. We need to refine it ourselves, which we are. China needs the oil. China buys 60 to 90% of all of Venezuela's crude exports. China also buys 85 to 90% of all of the oil from Iran. China also buys nearly half of all Russian oil. Mm-hmm. What's happening right now? Well, 60 to 90% of all of the exports from Venezuela now not going to China. How is China going to be able to power all of their electricity needs? How are they going to do that if they don't get oil from Venezuela? Oh, and what else has been destabilized this weekend? Iran. Mm-hmm. They buy 85 to 90% of all of the oil in Iran, and those are huge oil reserves as well. So when people say this isn't about oil, or this is about oil, the argument goes back and forth. No, it's not about oil. We don't need it. No, it absolutely is about oil, but not for us. This is about Donald Trump, again, playing to win the long game. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have any of the oil from Western allies. Not going to happen. We don't need you to win because you have all of the energy. You're not going to do it. We need the energy. The West needs the energy, and you're not pulling it out of our hemisphere. Okay, if Iran and Venezuela fall at the same time, China loses 70% of its non-U.S. regulated oil supply. 70%. What else does that mean besides AI? You lose 70% of your oil from that's non-U.S. You lose 70%. What else can't you do? Well, you can't go into Taiwan. You certainly can't have a war with Taiwan. You can't have AI dominance. There's no BRICS reserve currency. So just on the oil front, absolutely it's about oil. but not the way everybody, oh, that's because Exxon's going to get rich. No, because if you shut down the oil, no war in Taiwan because they don't have the energy to do it, no AI dominance because they won't have the energy to do it, and no BRICS currency. Game over for now. That's why this matters. And that's only one piece of this. Here's what Marco Rubio said over the weekend. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We're not going to allow, what we're not going to allow, however, is for the oil industry in this hemisphere to be controlled by adversaries of the United States. Is that imperialism? Or is that the defense of the hemisphere? I want you to know, and we'll talk about this later, because I think we have a George AI today after the show. I think, and we'll talk to Jason about this, I think George AI is going to talk about act of war and, you know, what the founders thought about foreign entanglements and everything else. But we can argue about the constitutionality of what Donald Trump did. Does he have the right to do it? Well, I don't know. I think he does. I don't necessarily like it, but I also don't like the fact that Congress would have to be involved on short-term things. The way it's generally been played is I think it's 30 or 45 days he can go in and do something in defense of the country, and then they have to approve any ongoing things with 30 or 45 days. And I'm kind of comfortable with that. But we can argue about that. There's you know, strict constitutionalists who say absolutely not. And you know what? You might be right. There are other people who say, no, he has the right. And you know what? I have a harder time believing that, no, he can do whatever he wants. That's not true. But we can argue about it. What you cannot argue about is if you say you're America first. This isn't America first. This is absolutely America first. This is the most America first thing I have ever seen. Notice another thing. Trump is not just confronting our enemies. He's stealing alliances. The UAE don't like a lot of the stuff in the Middle East. But notice they're not being bombed. They're being courted. Why? Why? Because power flows through relationships, not just weapons. This is all about blocking Iran, China, and Russia. More on this going deeper in just a second.
I also remember him saying art of the deal when Donald Trump would talk about that. This is well planned out. And I think he's using all his resources. That means everyone in his cabinet to pull this off, whatever it is. And I think it's very, very detailed. And just like I said, I don't think it's just oil. I don't think it's just drugs. I don't think it's just guns. I don't think it's just human trafficking. I don't think it's just money. I think it has a lot to do with the whole mess that's going on with the 2020 election and those machines that came from Venezuela, and the people behind it making those machines were from Venezuela and helped Venezuela win elections and other countries. And I think that's why some of these other countries are in bed with Maduro over this whole thing. So I think all of it is interconnected. But yeah, it's sad what he said about Europe. Because I do think it might be lost. I don't know. I don't know if it can be saved, but that can't be our problem. You know, we have to take care of our country first, our people first, and anything that we can do that's going to give us the upper hand, I think we should do it. And I do think that Trump has the right to do what he did, just like what Comeback was trying to explain a little bit of. After they go in and do that, like what he did, if it goes longer, like he said, over 30 days, then Congress has to get involved. So I think back when Johnson made that comment that we're going to put the hammer down and we're going to start getting to Trump's agenda in January. I remember him saying that, and people were like, why? Why do you have to wait so long? And they were bitching and moaning about it. I think this was part of it. So I hope, because I've been bitching and moaning about our Congress for quite a while, but I'm hoping that this is part of what they were talking about. But it won't be long before we're going to find out. So be ready for that. I think it's going to be coming up very quickly. But the next thing I wanted to share is still one more Glenn Beck thing. I know some of you may not really like him. It's what he's saying in these small bits that I think is important. And this next one is the last one, but it kind of puts things together about adding another aspect to the whole thing about what's going on and where Trump is trying to help us, which is America. So this next thing has to do with that too. So here we go. Hope you guys enjoy this. This is the last part of it. It's only 3 minutes long, but it's very informative.
I believe we do need Greenland, not as a 51st state, maybe as a protectorate. It would be nice. Not by force, not by military. It has rare earth minerals, and it is strategically placed in such a place that it is essential for us if you are preparing for war. He is preparing us for a couple of things. A digital war where we are fighting who's going to win AI. A currency war, whose currency is going to be dominant. Who's going to actually be responsible for the financial well-being of at least the Western world. And I think a hot war. And so he is taking all of the assets that we need, oil, energy, that's coal, electricity, nuclear, all kinds of tech, not just AI, but military tech. Did you see what he said yesterday? He said yesterday, we have a problem with our military industrial complex. It's too slow. Hurry up. He is preparing for any eventuality. And he's carving out not an empire, I don't think. I think he is carving out the Western world and making strategic partnerships like he did with Argentina. We made them a big loan because they were struggling. We're not trying to control Argentina. I don't want to control Argentina, but I want them as an ally. Same with Venezuela. I don't want to run your country, but I want you as an ally. And, you know, Cuba, I don't want you. No communism here, not in this sector. The other reason why I think Greenland wouldn't be as important if NATO wasn't useless. I think he has written off Europe. I have. I don't know about you, but I've written off Europe. Europe's not going to be any help. They're going to be a nuclear-armed Islamic caliphate in 10 years. If they don't change their ways, that's what it will be. That's not helpful. Denmark's not Denmark anymore. What is Denmark? It is all of these countries are collapsing. They are absolutely delusional. They are becoming a totalitarian European Union that is going into a fascistic sort of way, complete control, complete anathema to freedom. At least that's their plan with the WEF. And he's written that off. We're not going to be allies with you guys. We're not. You're going to separate yourself from us. We're not going to. And so I don't want you to have all of those strategic reserves. We're willing to buy them from you. We're willing to buy Greenland. We're willing to make them a protectorate. They can run their own thing, but they're not going to Europe. They're coming here.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what he just said. And the thing is I know this might sound kind of tacky, but they are headed towards that. I think all those countries are collapsing in on themselves because of the wokeism, basically, made them weak so that the Islamic people could go in and take over. And that's what's happening. And he's right. They're going to have nuclear arms when they step in and take over. And we have to be able to defend ourselves. And I think with someone like J.D. Vance stepping in to try to finish what Trump is starting, and now that you have this administration that he's got with these new younger people, with Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and others that are in there, all seeing the agenda. Honestly, think about it. In your past years of the last 3 or 4 presidents, okay, depending how old you are, have you seen any other cabinet work together the way that this one is? I haven't. I've seen 1 or 2 work together on this one thing. I've never seen them do cabinet meetings where they're all open, where we can hear it, them talking about different things that they're working on and who's working with who, hand in hand, trying to get things worked out. I'm impressed. I've been very, very impressed with this first year of how much Trump has been able to get done without Congress. Honestly, think about it. He doesn't have half the judges he needs. I mean, the first person I said who I thought was going to be indicted, and he was, which was Comey. And what happened? Pretty much nothing yet, because we don't have any judges. Half our judges are so corrupt, we won't get anything done. Even if we put them in to military tribunals right now, I don't trust half the military, not the soldiers. I trust the soldiers. But as you get higher up in the military, I lose trust. I lose faith in those people because there's so much corruption in there. Because you remember when President Trump was president the first time, they were all stabbing him in the back. They were all lying, conniving, doing all these things, underhanded things behind his back to get rid of him. They didn't want him, because he wasn't one of them. He wasn't one of the good old boys. He's willing to bend over and take it up the ass for the other guys so they all can make more money. Okay. I know I probably shouldn't have said that, but this is a grown-up show. But the thing is, that's what I believe. I really do believe that. Not so much because I understand so much of everything, and the terminology that's used. It's just that my common sense and my spidey sense, or whatever it is telling me that these people are working together to take the country from us, from you and me, take away our freedoms, put us in, the little towns where we all have to work together in the community, and we'll all be happy to have nothing because we all have the same thing. We'll each have our little cubicle. We'll get in our electric car and we'll go do whatever we're supposed to do for our short amount of time that we're going to have. Because as soon as you're too old to add to the money, they'll put you in that little cubicle over there where they're going to just give you a bunch of drugs until you die, because you're not going to be worth anything. They're not going to spend millions of dollars to keep giving us surgeries that are just going to prolong our lives so we can suck more money from the system when we're not really adding back to the system. Things like that. I really do believe that. I know it sounds pretty weird, but that's how I feel. I really do feel that way. And I really do believe it's up to us. Because remember what Trump said that one time. He said, I can't do it word for word, but he said, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I'm just in the way. And I'm starting to believe that more and more and more, because he is the reason a lot of us rallied together. We're not all Trumpers. I don't like everything Trump's done. I am an America first person. I want to see everything that we can do to make us self-sustainable. We should be able to grow all our own food. We should be able to make all of our own medications. I don't care how rare of a disease you have. Progeria is very rare. We should be able to have every medicine a person with progeria needs in our own country. We should be able to produce it. We should be able to grow all the food that we need, period. We should be able to refine our own oil and pump our own oil out of the ground and off of our coasts. There's lots of things. Fishing, you know, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Everything that we need, we should be able to make it in our own country for ourselves, for us. Then if there's anything left over, we can sell it. Hey, Doc, thank you for stopping in. Yeah, it's just me tonight. I don't know what happened. I hope everybody's okay. But I didn't hear anything back from anyone except for Bruce. He was the only one that let me know that he wasn't going to be here because he's in the transition period. You know, he's trying to move and everything. Yeah, computer chips. That's another thing. Thank you, George. But the thing is, why can't we do those things? Why can't we make all this stuff ourselves? Make our own vehicles, make our own computer chips, make everything we need to take care of ourselves. And then whatever's left, we sell it to other people in other countries. And then if we want to buy, let's say, special stuff, I mean, even vodka, I'm not saying that all of our alcohol is as good as it is from other countries that maybe we've become accustomed to, but we can still make it. I mean, I had relatives that used to have stills. They used to make dandelion wine and their own beer and some real rock gut, like stuff that could start fires. I remember that. But, you know, I don't see the problem with it. I don't see the problem to make our own stuff. Because then nobody can hold us over a barrel and say, well, we're the only ones in the world that make this, and we're not going to give you any more because you guys won't give us what we want. And that's what they've been doing. Our people in our government has been slowly sending all of our jobs and our factories overseas to make us weaker on the inside. I mean, it's pretty sad when a farmer can't even farm their own land because they're told, oh, you have a mouse that lives there. And if you farm, you're going to kill that mouse. So we're going to stop you from farming. So what they do, they just give him measly pennies on the dollar for his property, and he's forced to go somewhere else. Then they either bring in like China or some other country to run stuff on that land, or someone like Bill Gates buys up, you know, millions of acres of land and he wants to grow whatever synthetic stuff on it he can and make us lab grown meat to eat instead of real beef that we could be feeding all that wonderful grassland to. Stuff like that. It's just ridiculous. And we've let it happen right under our noses. I mean, honestly, do you even know what's in that chicken McNugget that you're eating through the drive-through? I'd rather not do that. That's why I like to have my own chickens. I raise my own chickens, and I know it's just chickens, but guess what? I can live off chickens, fish, and squirrel or deer. I could do that if I had to. And I'm not too proud to say I could do that. I can skin a deer. I can skin a squirrel. I can clean fish. And anyone can do that. Anyone can learn to do those things. And that's another thing we need to start doing is teaching our children how to take care of themselves. When your child graduates from high school and is going to be able to get a job, can they cook for themselves? Can they sew a hole? You know, if they get a hole in their elbow of their shirt or in their knee of their pants, can they fix the hole in it on their own? Can they change a tire? Can they change your oil? I mean, these are all things that my parents made me learn how to do. We weren't even allowed. My dad had 5 daughters, and none of us were allowed to take the car to drive it to a ball game or to another function if we didn't know how to change the tire on the car. Because what if we're out in the rural, you know, place somewhere where there's no cars and we get a flat? You know, I mean, you got to be able to get yourself out of a situation. And we're not training our kids. We're not helping our children be successful because we're not teaching them things. And you know how I found out some of this and made me start thinking about it? I was driving back from visiting a relative in Arkansas back to New Orleans, and I got a flat. Something that flew out from underneath the semi in front of me, and I heard the tire go, psh, you know, pull over, get out. It's 114 degrees outside. And I start to change a tire. Nobody pulled over to help me or anything. I did it all by myself. And I was so proud that I changed the tire. And then I realized my back tire is flat too. I had 2 flats. And I only had 1 donut. So I had to inch my way along the road because I was lucky. About 1.5 miles down the road, there was a ramp, to get off, exit ramp. And I got off and I was able to use the phone, and I called I had a cell phone, but it didn't work. I didn't have service. So I had to go down there anyways. But I got down there and I called someone and they came. He picked up my vehicle, the tow truck guy, and he was telling me how impressed he was that I was able to change that tire. And I was like, well, thanks. I told him about my dad making us learn how to do it. And he says, you wouldn't believe how many men that I've picked up take somewhere that don't know how to change a tire on a car. So it's pretty pathetic when you think about it. Not just because it was a man. It's just that how many people can't change a tire on a vehicle. You're driving a vehicle that can kill people, but you can't change the tire on it. That's sad. And that's to me is our schools. Every kid that takes driver's ed should know how to change a tire on a car, period. That's something we should definitely have. No kid should be able to drive a car they can't change a tire. I just don't see any reason to give them the keys to a vehicle if they can't take care of it. That's just my point of view. But that is that it's important that we do those things and we start training our children to take care of themselves and to step in when we're gone. Who's going to cook and clean and do all the things to take care of their homes if we don't teach them? It's on us. But this next thing I wanted to share, and we can turn off this Glenbeck thing real quick. So hold on. Okay, now get rid of that. Here's this next thing I thought was pretty good. I mean, we don't hear enough of this and we don't see enough of this on the news because they don't really want to share it with us. But I thought it was pretty good. So hold on. This is Jim Jordan, okay? And this is the House Oversight hearing, okay? And it's about the feeding the future scam that's coming out in Minnesota and other states, okay? So a lot of people are saying it's Minnesota. It's not just Minnesota. This scam is huge. I mean, is ginormous. It's in California. I think it's in Ohio. I think it's in New York. I think maybe even Texas. I'm sure it's going to be in a lot more states than just those once they get to the bottom of it. But the fact that they found out about it right now, $250 million just in this one little area. I mean, just think about all the money, wasted money that Doge has found. And then the Social Security fraud. Just every time we turn around, we're finding millions and millions and millions of dollars in fraud. And once they get this all cleaned up and we're bringing tariffs and stuff in, I don't even think they're going to have to tax us for anything because our taxes, we're paying for all this shit. And we still were running, everything was still running and nothing was being taken care of because this was all fake. It was all fraud. So if you stop the fraud and the money's not going out, we're all going to have a lot more money. At least that's how common sense tells me that it's going to be. But I want you guys to listen to this. This is pretty interesting. So here we go.
Mr. Hudson, who is Salim Saeed and Amy Bach?
I recognize those names as defendants in the Feeding Our Future trial.
They ran Feeding Our Future, is that right?
That's correct.
And they've been indicted?
That's correct.
They've been convicted?
That's correct.
And they're in jail waiting sentences, is that right?
As I understand it.
Okay, I want to go back because earlier with Mr. Gill, you said that they overlooked the fraud. I think it's worse than that. I think they helped it along.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to this meeting that took place, or actually I want to go to March 30th, 2021. Is it true back in March of 2021, the Minnesota Department of Education suspended payments to Feeding Our Future, that program? Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
And then a month later, they resumed payments.
That's correct.
What caused them to change their mind?
In my opinion, what caused them to change their mind was pushback from their constituency within the Somali community who accused the state agencies of being racist.
But what caused them to stop it in the first place? Was it whistleblowers coming forward? Was it like this something's not right here? What happened?
Apologize for the misunderstanding. The reason they stopped the funds in the first place is because they had credible allegations that there was fraud taking place.
From whistleblowers and others.
Correct.
And just they're doing their job looking, this doesn't make sense. We got all these programs, no one's getting fed, and yet money's going out the door like crazy. So they suspended it. And then they started it back up, right? Was there any threat of a lawsuit from the Somali community and folks affiliated with Feeding Our Future?
Mr. Jordan, there was more than a threat. They actually did it.
They did? And what was the alleged claim in that lawsuit?
That they were victims of racial discrimination.
Oh, they played the race card, huh? All this fraud going on, money going out, and they played the race card. Now, it was when I talked about not just overlooking it, there was a meeting that took place between the Attorney General and affiliates of Feeding Our Future. Is that right?
That is correct.
And what happened at that meeting? Do we know?
Yeah, we do, because we have it on tape. There was an audio recording made at that meeting that was entered into evidence in the Feeding Our Future trial. And it was later revealed through work from Center of the American Experiment, the full recording. And my observations of what took place in that meeting was that Attorney General Keith Ellison was focused on one thing and one thing only, and that was keeping these folks in business. There were no questions that he asked of these folks about how the kids are doing, the operation, how they're getting fed, who's being helped. Instead, the focus was entirely on ensuring that the money continues to flow. And I'll add that he went so far as to say that he was going to fight these people in reference to the state agencies. The state agencies are his client.
Yeah. And when you said money's going to flow, did money flow to Mr. Ellison's campaign a couple weeks later from some of the folks who were in that meeting?
Sure did.
How much, do we know how much that was?
I do not have that number.
So it wasn't just overlooking the fraud. They were actively trying to make sure this program continued, and then they benefited from that politically with contribution to their campaign, all in this same year, all in 2021, when this was all coming to a head. Is that accurate?
That is my understanding.
And this fraud is much bigger than this, because as I look, it's like 6 different federal agencies. Department of Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, Small Business Association, Housing, Urban Development, Department of Labor, Department of Agriculture. In this program and a bunch of others, they were shaking down the entire federal government, it looked like. 6 different federal agencies. I think you pointed out, over the last 15 years.
That's correct.
And not only are the Democrat administration overlooking it, they're helping it along. They're assisting it. They're going after whistleblowers, as your colleague pointed out. And they're benefiting from all this politically with contribution to their campaign, not to mention the voting issue that you referenced earlier as well. Is that all accurate?
I believe so.
Oh, now there's more than 6 agencies involved. There's 6 federal agencies that got shaken down, but there's 2 other agencies involved now, the FBI and the DOJ, right? How many people have been indicted now?
I do not have that number in front of me, but it's significant.
And I don't know how long y'all been in the legislature. We appreciate your work, appreciate what you do. But have you ever seen anything like this in your time in the I've never seen anything like this in an agency. Miss Robbins, you?
That is scary as hell. If you think about it. 6 different agencies all involved in getting their handouts from us, from our tax dollars. 6 agencies. It's scary. And Trump can't do all of this with executive orders. Okay. America First people voted for people to get in there and help Trump be successful. Like when people say, you voted for this? I say, yes, I voted for this. I voted to get as many of these people out of our country as we can, because as soon as they're gone and they're not coming back in, then we can start finding out where the money really is. Because as long as we're still having to feed and house and provide medical care and schools and all this stuff for all the illegals that don't even deserve 1 penny, when there's Americans doing without, we have to get them out. So even though it's taken a long time because of the fighting and the chaos and the lawfare, a couple months back, I had a girl on my show, After Hours, that went undercover basically with the Antifa people. Okay, she was able to get in there in Oregon and go to different rallies and different things that they were doing to get information. And she said during the interview that there were people, when they go and do these protests and stuff at the ICE places and different things like that, that they have either they're either wearing vests or hats, lawyers that are walking around waiting, because if someone gets arrested, they follow them to the police department and they get them bailed out. So who's paying for that? See, that's why when Trump signed that one executive order about making people that are helping pay for these people, that's why I can't wait to find out who it is. I want to find out. I want all those people to go to jail, but it's gonna take years to do all this, because this is mountains and mountains and mountains of fraud, people. In every single state, I'm seeing it in every state. Now I'm lucky because I have a governor that I believe is going to get to the bottom of it and start the prosecutions as soon as they have what they need and find out there's things going on in our state, that she's going to make sure that people are held accountable. I do believe that, but I feel bad for all of you that are stuck in states, like people that are stuck in Colorado or Arizona or California or New York or in let's see, what was it, Michigan, and there's others, Georgia. Oh my goodness, Georgia is really bad too. Not because there's bad people there. There's hardworking people in all those states. It's the people that are at the very top levels of your state that have been sucking you guys dry. I mean, as you just heard, it's 6 agencies involved in this, and just in this fraud, this one thing about it's a Food Network thing, trying to supposedly giving food to people who couldn't afford it or didn't have means to get it. Instead of giving food to real people, they were taking the money and spending it on themselves and then laundering it to other people to put in their bank accounts. So, and that's just that one thing. Remember all the US aid, what it was called, USAID, all that, and then you had 500 or 600 other NGOs. You know, all these are all different. These are all different, and all different agencies are running all of this, and they're all corrupt. All of it. We're finding out that all of this was just money that. Instead of printing it like somebody was talking about it earlier in the chat, I'm trying to find it real quick. Yeah, here it is. Long story right here. They, make this stuff because it was too expensive due to money printing. Okay, because basically that's all they did. They just, whenever they needed more money, they just find a way to print more money. So the money made them having all that money printed made our dollar bill worth less. But it didn't matter because they weren't earning it. They just printed it out and put it in their bank account, basically. All the money laundering that was going on with the money that was being sent to Ukraine. Okay, I believe that whole thing was a money laundering for Biden's and his cronies. I really do believe that. And I hope they get to the bottom of all that. But we have got to get judges in that aren't corrupt, so that we can actually have a court where we can send some of these people. Because remember, what I have noticed, and I don't know a lot about it, like I'm going Sunday night, I have to call and find out what day I got to show up in court in Little Rock for a federal court. I don't know, but I got my 2 letters so far and a map of where to park and all this kind of stuff that I have to take with me because it's got my number on it. A number of what my jury number will be or whatever. But the thing is, we need that in every state. So if it's a federal crime, you're going to be going to a federal courthouse in whatever state supposedly is where the acts were taking place, as far as I know, unless you can get a changed to a different venue or whatever, however they do that. The thing is that what court do you choose when every time you turn around, you got a judge saying that he's throwing this out or that out, and he's not going to let Trump do this, that, or the other because they're corrupt. You know, we're never going to be able to prosecute any of these people. Hillary Clinton, Comey, Brennan, all these people that were involved in election fraud by saying there was a PP dossier and spending that money on money that they took from their donors, which were Democrats. Even though I'm not a Democrat, but I don't think it's right to take other people's money and spend it on stuff you're not supposed to be spending it on. That's illegal, and those people should go to prison for it. But because of the fake PP dossier, people, it influenced people not to vote because they felt there was no one left to vote for because everybody's corrupt, which there is a lot of corruption. But every person that I see, like this right here with Jim Jordan, it shows me that he's not one of the ones that's making hand over fist while he's sitting there working, trying to get to the bottom of this. And there's a lot of them like that. There's quite a few still decent people in office that are fighting for us. And we need to make sure they know that we're thankful for that and do whatever we can to try to get rid of some of these people, Democrats, independents, Republicans, or whoever they are. If they are not America first, we need to get rid of them. We've got to clean house. We only have 3 years because we're going to have to go back up against the system. If we don't have this election shit fixed, they're just going to cheat and then vote for 2 weeks and make more ballots until they win. Unless we fix it, it should be one ballot, it should all be paper, and have it done in 1 day, period. Nobody leaves until all the ballots are counted. That's simple. And don't use machines to count. People. Use people. Every single state has colleges. Every single one. Why not use college students to help with all the other people that are working? And once they're trained by the judges that follow the letter of the law, supposedly, I was trained by judges both times when I worked in Arkansas and in Louisiana to work the polls. So I'm just saying, and I believe that it's true and it works if everybody is not corrupt. If you have actual people that care and they're all sitting side by side, they're not going to let anyone cheat at their table. And then if you have another table over there and a table, all these different tables, and you have good people sitting at them, they're not going to cheat. And if they look across and see someone doing something they know is wrong, they're going to blow the whistle and say, hey, that guy's over there writing on people's ballots. That's illegal. And stuff will stop right then at that moment instead of months and years later trying to figure out what happened because nobody said anything as people were afraid. Oh, my house will get burned down, or they'll call me a racist, or they're going to call me a Nazi, or whatever. It's because they're going to get called a name, or they're worried that someone's going to take revenge on them. Like going over and rubbing their butt against their car because they drive a Tesla or whatever. All these dumb, stupid videos that were coming out. I mean, these people are just a bunch of crazy people. I just can't understand any of it. It just doesn't make any sense. And we have lost it. I mean, when common sense has now made you a superhero, because that's like a golden crown or cape that you wear when you have common sense, because you can look around and go, geez, I'm in crazy world, because you just don't understand why people are making all these ridiculous choices and accepting, just taking their checks, cashing them, and handing half of your money to other people to do whatever they want with, and you're happy with it. I don't understand that. I want my money. I want all my money, and I want to put it all in the bank and spend it where I want to. If I want to buy that damn piece of cake over there, I'm going to buy it It's my money. I earned it. And you should have the same right to do that instead of worried about if you're even going to have enough money to even buy a piece of cake. Okay, we shouldn't be in that position. And they don't have the right to do that to us, especially when they're lying and it's fraud. I think we should see all these people put in prison, but yet they'd rather stand out there and stop people from being able to arrest people that need to be out of our country, or get rid of these Somalians that are causing all this fraud. And they, thank goodness, because they're the reasons why we got started on it in the first place. So we have found a lot of things simply because a few people broke away from the rest of the crowd and decided to do something about it. And thank God for that. Thank God we have a few people that are willing to just say, oh, well, screw it. I don't care. You know, like me, I don't care. I honestly do not care. I had somebody post on my YouTube channel, which is a tiny little blip on the radar. I mean, you know, I'm nothing. I am a plebe, basically, in the sea of YouTube people that make, you know, millions and millions of dollars doing all this stuff they do. And some dork posted on Mother's Day to me, "Happy Mother's Day, Janet. It's a shame I can't understand a word you say because you got Trump's dick in your mouth." That's how nice these people are to me. But guess what? It didn't stop me. I'm still going to do it. Because if they don't like what I have to say, they don't have to listen to me. They can go to the next person or the other person or change the channel and watch something else. I don't care. Doesn't hurt me. I'm still going to do it. Even if nobody watched me, I'd still do it. Because I like doing it. And I like sharing information that I think is important. And if I help one person a week, then it's worth it to me. That's how I look at it. And I wish more people did that. Wish more people didn't care if there's some dumbass that wants to call you names, point the finger, hey, look at her. You know, I don't care. It doesn't change my thoughts at all about what I believe. And I love this country, and I'll do it everything I can possibly do to help this country by getting the truth out so people can make informative decisions instead of just acting like some of these dumbasses that we're seeing on the news. It's just ridiculous and sad that we're showing children to act like that, you know, trying to get our kids to grow up and treat other people that way. I'm embarrassed by it. I really am. I'm ashamed that these people are also Americans, because I'm proud to be an American, and I can't believe every person wouldn't want to be proud to be an American in this country when you look around and see how bad off all these other countries are compared to us. But I'm going to close that one because I've got a couple more things that I want to share, and then I'll be done. I'll get out of your hair. This little thing I thought was really funny when I got it. Oops, opened the wrong thing. Darn it. I'm a little bad at that. There's share screen. That's what I was supposed to click on. Yeah, this happened in my own state, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And I really thought we had a little better control of this whole situation by now. It seems like enough people have been talking about, at least in my circle, about these truck drivers that can't speak English, can't read the signs. We don't know how they got a driver's license, but I 100% believe that any company that hires people like this, knowing they can't read English, they can barely speak English, they shouldn't be driving on our roads. If you went and you got pulled over and you just say your driver's license expired, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, you're going to have a huge fine. You're going to have to go to court, all this different stuff. And then we got these people driving semi-trucks that can take out whole school buses and whole mini cars. It could hurt hundreds of people, basically, on the road. But this person is in Arkansas. This person got pulled over. It says a truck driver who could barely speak English caught transporting nitrous oxide without proper hazmat labeling in Arkansas. You can't drive because you don't speak English and you don't have a hazmat endorsement. And it says, get these people off the road. And this is from Libs of TikTok, but I wanted to share this. Somebody sent it to me because I'm in Arkansas. I'm pretty sure that's why. But this is ridiculous. This should never happen. I don't care in what state, what town, or anything. No one in this position should get hired to drive this truck. And whoever hired this guy should be in jail for it. Period. That's how I look at it. Here we go.
How you doing? Good, man. I'm Officer House, Highway Police. Man, reason I stopped, just a random inspection, okay?
Okay.
Where are you coming from?
I'm from California.
What is that?
Oh.
Humidifier or something? Okay. You coming from California?
I'm coming from one more.
Take your headset out.
California.
California?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Pennsylvania and
Pennsylvania. You got your bills?
New Jersey.
You got your bills?
Bills?
For the load? You know what you're hauling?
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
What are you hauling?
Oh.
What's in the trailer?
Amazon goods.
Amazon?
General cargo.
General cargo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazon goods.
Is it Amazon?
Sorry, speak slowly.
Is it Amazon?
Amazon.
You hauling for Amazon?
Yeah.
How come you don't have your placards on?
Yeah.
How come you don't have placards on the side of the truck?
Oh.
Come here. How come you don't have placards?
What's that? Oh.
Go get your license. Go get your license.
Okay. This is nice and clean.
Oh, yeah. You got a second? I want you to look at something. You don't have any placards. He's got all that in the back.
What is it?
Nitrous oxide. Here's his bills. But I don't see anything that's like a reportable quantity or... You got your license? Thank you. It doesn't say. It says for food purposes only. But it's like little containers is what it's looking like.
Like tiny little?
No, they're bigger, man. Puff gas. I don't know that it's... Is it legal? Not for medical use. Under 18. Puff gas is what it is.
What's this used for?
No, I don't think he does. Is this like illegal? Huh? He's got 2 different stops. These are shoes.
Let me finish up what I got about 5 minutes left on mine.
Okay.
Let me come back to this. I'm gonna save my I'm gonna save my this as in this doesn't match that.
Well, I'm just thinking.
Totally matches that.
Yeah, but I don't think this is legit.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
I think he's trying to slip something in, but I just don't know if this is like illegal because it's saying under 18,
yeah.
But it's called puff gas.
Yeah, that's what I like about it.
Okay. I'm going to start my interview.
Have any of you guys ever heard of puff gas?
You just hang out right here. Hey, come here. Stand right here.
Okay.
Do you have bills for this? Do you have bills for this?
Oh, no.
No bills for this?
No.
Where'd you get this at?
So I need to ask my boss. I don't know. This, I just... officer 给电梯一下，但是上次看他位置。他大概说看了以后，好像是他说一直给我给留下来，然后。
Hey, you opening that?
Just did it a few minutes ago.
Huh?
Limmer just did it a few minutes ago.
Okay, but did he open it? Because they got the same kind of seal. Do a level 2 on it and open it and see what's in there.
Thank you.
Because it's got this nitrous oxide in there. Do y'all know each other? You know him?
He's my friend.
That's his. Hey, that's his friend. So I bet they got the same shit in there. Does he got the same stuff? Huh? Does he got the same stuff? These together?
My friend.
Your friend?
Yeah.
Operations along Hucksters, hospital injury. Other than that, he's the dispute.
10-6 here at the scales are off. No need for checks right now. Thank you. Can you look at what I texted you? Is that legit? It's saying it's a puff gas, nitrous oxide. Because it's like it says like under 18, no, on the box and. Okay. It's not a control stuff. Yeah. Okay. It's just basically the same thing you can do with that can of whipped cream. Okay. Alrighty. They got quite a bit in this trailer. I didn't know. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there's a lot of headshots and sales Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks. Shut the door. Get off the phone. Where's your license at? Where's your driver's license at?
Driver license?
What do you got here? You got your... Look at me. Look this way. Are you using a translator? You're using a translator. He's got a translator on his phone. You don't speak English, do you? Put your translator down. But it's not.
Looks like he's getting high right there in the picture there.
Yeah. High as an astronaut.
Is it legal to sell in Arkansas? That's the question.
No.
Or legal to possess? I mean, this
Yeah.
is legal in California.
But it's for self or recreational inhalation. And illegal in many places, with laws focused on preventing misuse for intoxication.
Hazmat wise, he's
Well, they don't even have a hazmat endorsement.
I'm saying he's at least got to have bills for it. So I know that part's mad.
Well, see, this one had the same seal on it, so I told Ron to open the trailer on it to see if it's got the same stuff in it. Did it? But I don't know. I don't know if he's opened it or not. It don't have the same stuff in it. It's just Amazon load. Where'd you pick this up at? Where did you pick this up at?
Okay.
Where did you pick this up at? Where did you pick this up at?
California, Los Angeles.
I mean, he's going to have to get back. Plus, he can't speak English, so I'm probably just going to tow the truck.
And he's going to have it.
He got to have bills. Bill and endorsements, yeah. Huh? No, I don't think so. Since you don't have the bills for it, what do you think on the... I know he's got to have the file. I guess what it's on there, but it's got to be on the outside of the...
Yeah, it's got to be on that side. I'm trying to find anything with like a UN number.
Right there. 1070.
Yeah. No exemption. So we hammer them on. And this, I mean, there's about 40 violations you can write them up for, but 2 works.
Okay.
No shipping paper. That should be. It was showed something like 177.817. So look in that area maybe.
Okay, let me get there.
Okay.
Shipping papers.
Yes.
All right. One's just
generic shipping. No shipping.
Shipper failed to provide hazmat shipping paper.
Yes. That'll work. Is that like?
I've issued you a citation, okay?
Okay.
Do you need me to speak into the translator so you can understand me, or you got it going? Okay, good. So I've issued you a citation for not being able to sufficiently speak English and pass the English language proficiency, no shipping documents labeled hazmat, no placards when required on the side of the trailer, and no hazardous material endorsement on your CDL. Hey, step out. Step out. Step outside, okay? Let's get out. Come here.
We've been here.
I know. I tried to catch you before you left, but I just now finished. This is your copy, and this is y'all's copy. So he's got hazmat in here. He's got to have placards on the side. Okay. He's got to have a hazmat endorsement, but he can't drive because he cannot speak English. Okay. So here's this, and then here's all the out-of-service violations.
Okay.
Here's your license.
All this is going to be big, and then relax driver, hazmat. Right?
Yeah, hazmat endorsement.
Okay. All righty.
Let me explain this to him. So you're going to go with these guys. You're going to get your stuff out of the truck. Yeah, and I've got a seal I got to put on it, Billy. You're going to go with these guys. So get anything you need out of the truck. You can't drive and you can't speak English because you don't have a hazmat endorsement. You're hauling hazmat back here, so you can't drive. They're going to take this to their yard. When y'all can come pick it up with a hazmat driver, and once you get all the out of service violations fixed on the inspection report. I know. Did y'all come and get his a while ago? Yeah. Well, he was going to ride with him, I bet. Yeah. Hey, was he going to go with you? Was he going with you? Well, y'all both getting in here now.
Well, he was ready to go to get his popped off and stuff. He gave another citation. Took him back in there and he left.
Terrible.
Yeah, apparently they knew each other.
Probably got trained at the same place how to drive a truck.
Is he going with you? Yeah. Well, y'all are going to go with him, and he's going to drop you off at a gas station or something, okay? Okay. All right.
I'll get him He got to get the stuff out of his truck. I'll ride with you. Okay. I got to put something back in my truck. That'll work.
You putting him in there?
He can ride with Billy, and he can ride with me.
Okay. Y'all figure, y'all good? Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Horrible. The fact that we have people like that that are driving everywhere all over the United States. Think about that, people. Can't speak English at all. He's having to use a phone that I'm sure they provided for him just so he can communicate with people. And this guy is driving on our roads, not understanding any of it. It's scary as hell, I'm telling you. Every time I see a semi now, I worry about whether or not they even know what they're doing when they're on the road. It's really scary. But I got one more thing that I wanted to share because it was very moving when I read it. And I just wanted to share it before the end of the show. It says, it's somebody posted this when they were traveling. I was flying southwest from Dallas to New York. 3 rows ahead of me, there was a young soldier in uniform. He looked barely 18. He was staring straight ahead, gripping the armrest. He looked nervous, and it said when the drink cart came around, the flight attendant asked him what he wanted. He said, "A Coke, please." Heading home, she asked kindly. "No, ma'am," he said, "I'm deploying for the first time." The whole row went quiet. The flight attendant didn't say a word. She handed him his Coke. Then she got on the PA system. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest in row 8 today. Private Miller is on his first deployment to serve our country. Since I can't buy him a drink, I'm going to ask a favor. If you want to write him a note of encouragement and pass it forward." I grabbed a napkin and I wrote, "You got this. Stay safe. A dad from row 12." I watched as the napkins traveled up the aisle. Napkins, receipts, pages torn from books. By the time we landed, the soldier had a pile of paper on his tray, 3 inches high. He stood up to get his bag. He was wiping his eyes. He carefully packed every single scrap of paper into his rucksack. "Thank you," he told the flight attendant. "No," she said, "thank you." We all walked off the plane a little quieter, reminded that freedom is just a word until you meet the kid who is defending it. And I like this story because it made me think of all of the National Guardsmen that have been deployed out there. And 2 of them that were shot, 1 died, just for walking the streets to defend the people in that city in Washington, D.C. They were struck down because of it. And this young person just out of high school, basically in boot camp, is now going somewhere to defend something he doesn't really understand yet. I understand because I know how quickly our freedoms can be taken from us. And I've lived in another country. It was the Philippines. Now, I'm not saying it was like China or anything, but when you have people that live in a little hut, and their chickens and their little pig lives underneath their home, and they open a little trap door and throw scraps down there for them. It's a lot different than the way we live. And we have it made here. We really have a wonderful country. So many people have fought to keep it that way. And I want to see it stay this way. And the only way to do that is by us fighting to keep her free, to keep our guns, to be able to say the Pledge of Allegiance, to be able to hold signs like these people, to be able to walk around and hold a sign that says "God Bless America" on it. Things like that are important. But we're slowly losing it. All this fraud proves it. We've been asleep at the wheel, and people have been taking advantage of us. So it's time for us to take it back. And we have the perfect president to help us do it, because he feels the same way as we do. But he can't do it by himself. And he's not supposed to be forced to do it all by executive orders. He's supposed to do it with Congress. So we have to fight to get our Congress to help our president achieve the goal that we voted to put him in office to do. That's it. That's all we can do, people. And if we keep doing that, we're going to win. And so I don't know. I just think it's made me think about all the soldiers, men and women, that go to boot camp and want to fight for their country. And if we don't, what's left of it? Oh yeah, I saw that too. What she posted, Hardwick. The thing is that it doesn't really matter if it was written by AI, because it says anonymous at the top up there. It was the story and what it meant that to me was important, because I'm an Air Force brat. My whole life, I traveled almost every 2 years to a different state, to a different Air Force base. So my life was a little different than just some other kid that got to grow up on a farm or in a small town or even in a city, and stay in one place and get to have friends that you knew, your whole life. I didn't have that. I didn't have that luxury. I made friends, but a couple times when I moved back to that town, some of them would still be there because they didn't live on the base. They lived off base because they weren't in the military, but they still went to the same school and things like that. So I was lucky for that. But thing is, I really do believe that we can make a difference. And by making sure that we try to give Trump every ounce of support that we can, by telling the truth, sharing the facts, and voting, even if some of you still believe that it doesn't make a difference, it will one day for sure, because slowly we're exposing the fraud when it came to the different states. Let's see, it was Nevada. I showed last night. It was from Nevada, Arizona. I think it was PA in New York. And there was one other one. I can't remember the other state right this second. But they all have already gone to court, and they're going to court still to try to get people held accountable for the election fraud that went on in their states. And it's a start. Okay, it's a start. We have to start somewhere. And not every single court case can be this grandiose event, because it doesn't work out that way. It has to start small most of the time and work your way up. And that's what I see happening. But at least it's going. And it took 4 years, over 4 years, before some of these people even decided to do anything. So that's sad, because we have that much corruption. But I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think we can win. And I'm going to keep fighting until the end, until my end. And hopefully, you know, when I'm gone, there's going to be somebody that's ready to stand up and take my place. That's how it has to be if we expect to keep it and hand it down to the next generation. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who hung out with me tonight. And hope I had something that you hadn't seen. And I'm sorry I didn't have the other people show up. I don't know what happened to them. I hope they're all okay. But I have no idea. I have no idea what happened to them. But I just wanted to say thank you again. And I'm going to play one funny video before I close out. I saw this earlier, and it made me laugh, and I want to share it with everyone. So here we go. I know I shouldn't laugh, but I can't help it. It was so funny. But I hope all of you have a wonderful evening and a great weekend. And hopefully you'll join us on Sunday. We're going to be watching The Three Musketeers. And if you want to join us on Discord, let me know, me or Bruce. And we usually start around 12:30 Central Time, and we start watching the movie. And I don't think I've seen this one, because he said Charlton Heston's in it, so I haven't seen it yet. But it's going to be fun. So if you want to join us, let me know. And you guys have a great weekend.
If you voted for Donald Trump, that means that you stand for everything that is going on in our country right now. That you stand for all these tariffs. That you stand for this mass deportation. That you stand for getting men out of women's sports. I mean, the list goes on and on. You actually stand for this. If you voted for Trump, you actually stand for this. And if you voted for Trump, I just want to say that I love you and thank you so much for saving this country. Have a blessed day.